Alright guys, we have an update regarding this Jidion and Phibz situation. If you guys haven't seen my first coverage on the Jidion Phibz situation, I would highly recommend you watch it. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. You guys could check it out. Kind of like it ultimately is just a nothing burger. Like Phibz is a TikTok lolcow or people that are attempting to make Phibz a lolcow. They have an intellectual and developmental disability in the IDD community for short. And, you know, it just seems like a lot of lolcow obsessed channels are trying to farm off of Phibz, essentially, and their wrongdoing. Basically, Phibz was accused of talking to minors inappropriately, but, like, none of the conversations were even sexual. Not one of the allegations even stemmed that way. But apparently this person responded to it. It's basically... This is, like, after the Jidion interview. And I reacted to Jidion's interview specifically, which made me respect Jidion a lot more, if anything. But yeah, we'll see what this channel, which is a lolcow obsessed channel, has to say about it.
Okay, bro. Okay. Holy clout chaser.
Oh, that's kind of how I feel about these, like, weird channels that operate in, like, the lolcow network with, like, Daniel Larson and fucking, like... Josh Block and a bunch of other people that are like super lolcow obsessed.
Holy misinformer. So here's the thing. I blocked you because you made a post a while back about your boyfriend being shipped, but then in the caption, you said he's not 14 now. What the fuck are you talking about?
Vance. Oh, low-key blank myself. Oh, cut myself in my Virgil hoodie because I needed to feel that connection. Yeah, so I remember the allegations of Phibz, like cutting themselves or whatever. They're emo posting, right? That's what this is. This is just like emo posting. You know, obviously it's inappropriate when minors are present. You shouldn't be sending that stuff to minors, but it's not like... We understand that this is not like a predatory action, right? Like we understand that, like, nothing predatory is happening. They're not saying, hey, you should self-harm, or hey, you know, you should join me in self-harming, or, like, they're not encouraging them to self-harm or, like, trying to manipulate them in any way. Like, there's nothing here.
This, probably.
It's inappropriate. I'm not saying it should be happening, but it's not, like, there's no, like, predatory action happening here.
I'd wager to say they're talking about this. I hate to start a video off as unprofessional as this, but my real intro is coming up in just a second. But before we get into that, I want to prove in light mode flashbang warning for Google Docs. Bam, right here. Do you see this? On April 15th is when I wrote this script. So everything that I'm going to say in this video was a prediction, because I made this days ago. I've been in the hospital, I've been very sick. But as of last night...
I mean, would it be possible that you have some level of confirmation bias? Like, I mean, again, you operate in, like, the spheres that want people with autism to be wrong, or that want people who have an intellectual and developmental disability to be wrong. So, like, is it possible that you're just looking for information that fits your confirmation bias and you were correct, or were you actually correct in your predictions?
Further evidence came out. Everything that I said in this video seems like predictions. I make these pretty harsh accusations against people and even other YouTubers, and all of them were proven right. All of them were proven right last night, and yes,
okay.
I'm being that petty. Nobody wanted to listen to me, but it's almost like I knew that all of this was gonna happen or something. But I'm actually gonna rephrase that, because this wasn't just a prediction that I got lucky with. This was a pattern of behavior that I pointed out. I don't want to spoil
Okay, I guess.
Too much. I'm gonna come back with a segment at the end of this video, and I'm gonna talk about all the new stuff that came out last night, but just let it be known while you're waiting for this, everything that I'm saying in this video ends up being true, and
Okay.
I proved all these dumbass people wrong. So anytime that you see purple text come up on screen during this video, that is going to be like right now, current knowledge me editing, now that I know post-game summary here about the fact that I was right, and sometimes there's minor things that I want to change about what I'm saying.
Oh, minor things. Get it, guys? Because Phibz had their allegations. Again, I don't think Phibz is guilty. That was just like a stupid joke.
But obviously, I'm going to yap for like an hour, so I'm not going to record all of that again. So yeah, like I said, anytime you see purple text, that's modern me chiming in.
There's a decent amount of pretext in this video. The Phibz files. Whoa. We got the FNAF music in the background and everything to really sell you the point that this is bad. By the way, all these TikToks that they have in the background are just like innocent TikToks of like Phibz dancing or like just doing random TikTok things. They're not anything like in the DMs with like minors or whatever. Gotta somehow make innocent TikToks seem more predatory than they actually are.
Phibz is a TikToker that blew up around 6 weeks ago after a plethora of allegations came out about them from multiple different people. These allegations included her trying to get with a 14-year-old, her defending
Well, that's not, I mean...
CSAM, and her involving minors and her very odd fascination for self-harm.
Well, okay, couple things. So, the whole CSAM thing, I'm pretty sure was just like was it a 13 or a 17? I don't remember what it was specifically, but I'm pretty sure it was just some kid that was looking at like Naruto pictures and thought it was like CSAM or something, when it obviously wasn't. So that was the whole like quote unquote defending CSAM thing was kind of a nothing burger. I'm pretty sure Phibz was like defending somebody from like a false accusation. I'm pretty sure that's what that amounts to. And also the minor that was like 14 years old, Phibz was like 17, inappropriate. But, like, nothing sexual happened. And also, again, not a single... Like, there is a consistent pattern of behavior of these things happening where not a single sexual conversation has stemmed from the Phibz accusations.
And many others would make videos about this, and following that, even more allegations would come out, including one of her role-playing with another 14-year-old. Popular YouTube predator catcher Jidion would interview Phibz around a week ago, and I really disagree with the way that it went. Also, 2 specific YouTubers would make videos giving
Whoa, Papa Gut and Dankyjabo
their thoughts on this interview, and I'm going to...
Bro, Papa Gut's stocks are up.
Talk about all 3 of these people today. Before I really get into this, I want to let it be known that I'm going to try very hard to not attack the character of said people, as I believe that's a pretty manipulative form of debate. Instead, I'm going to attack their arguments. But with that
I mean, if they're a shit person, you can attack their character, right? I feel like that's... Like, listen, hot take, if they are a shitty human being, you have every right to attack their character?
being said,
If they are as shitty as you claim that they are, though I don't really think that they are.
Jidion especially is someone I still respect despite this.
Jidion defends predatory behavior allegedly, but you still respect Jidion? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Made a post the other day kind of teasing this video, and a lot of people were attacking Jidion, saying that he was immature and shit at his job. I disagree with that, despite what a lot of commentary channels will complain about.
But you're saying that Jidion inherently is somebody who's did a very poor job in this Phibz case. So, I don't know, like, you're starting off your video, like, sort of all over the place here.
It's a really slow news day. I don't care if pred catchers do it just for money, or at the very least in Jidion's case, which is who I see accused of it the most. Jidion...
Sure, yeah, I mean, if Jidion is doing content off pred catching, he probably deserves to make some monetary gain off of it, sure.
Does his pred catches very well, and the majority of them end in arrests and convictions. He could have ulterior motives, and I wouldn't give a shit. At the end of the day, he's helping make the world a better place. And that also leads me to my last little note before we finally get into everything. I've seen a lot of glaze for everyone here, specifically in our own comment sections. Everyone in Jidion's comment section is talking about how mature he is for being on Phibz's side. Everyone in Dankyjabo's comment section is, romantically infatuated with him.
I do like how Dankyjabo is genuinely has critical thinking when it comes to situations like these. It's easy to point. Well, no, I mean, it's specifically people that are saying that he's just critically thinking and not jumping on the cancel bandwagon immediately. And, like, the insinuation is that, like, Jidion and, like, Dankyjabo are, like, sweeping or whatever. But, like, if they truly were doing this for ulterior motives or to make money, like, the popular take would be to say that, like, Phibz is a predator and then just sensationalize. That would be, like, the popular thing to do.
Everyone in my comment section is talking about how ridiculous they all are for quickly jumping to defend Phibz after barely anything was truly disproven. Naturally, you guys, assuming you aren't new here, are going to want to side with me first, because you like me. I want to break that cycle right here. I'm very passionate about this topic. A lot of points I'm talking about today are going to be brought up because I have personal experience with them, but I feel like I'm the only one in this situation right now who isn't insane. So to ensure that there isn't a gas leak in my house, what I need, and what Phibz needs, and what the internet needs, isn't for you to pick sides based off of which one has your favorite YouTuber on it, but instead for you to listen to everything I have to say today and form your own honest opinion, even if it isn't in my favor, because I feel like bias is affecting this entire situation greatly. Okay, here's the big problem.
I mean, bias inherently is not a bad thing, so long as your retelling of information is correct. And like Phibz is like just objectively, based on all the evidence, like Phibz is just objectively not a predator at all.
Jidion objective.
I think Phibz is like the problem. See, the whole problem with the Phibz situation is the fact that she just sucks at like communicating. Like she sucks at like defending herself, and so when people are going after her and she like responds to tons of people, she winds up not doing herself any favors.
Did not do enough research on this topic prior to the interview to say that her name can be cleared. This is...
What are you talking about? Jidion saw the DMs. Like, objectively, Jidion would have seen more than any other person would, no?
Is an indisputable point. The best way I can prove...
I don't think so. Like, he looked at the DMs and he came to the conclusion that there was nothing to talk about.
This is that he spends the entire interview debunking these claims about the 14-year-old and the claims about defending CSAM. If you're wondering how this is proof, let me remind you that Jidion conducted this interview around a week ago. Allow me to show you my segment on the 14-year-old allegation from over 6 weeks ago, just a few days into the Phibz allegations going public. This definitely piqued my interest, so I looked into it, and to be honest, it was definitely fake. This is definitely fake. This alleged screenshot popped up of Phibz trying to romantically communicate with someone who was only 14 years of age.
Well, they were like 17. Inappropriate, but it's not predatory. Also, there was nothing sexual that happened in this conversation, so...
At the time, looked pretty convincing, and you just have to dig a little bit deeper, though. Look at the dates. These are 2024. Doing the math, Phibz would either be 16 or 17 at the time. There's really nothing illegal or that bad about a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. I think it's kind of weird, but I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, this person is a total pedo. It's a high schooler dating another high schooler. If you don't understand what I'm saying here, Jidion doesn't even understand what the main and most serious allegations against Phibz are, seeing as he spent the majority...
Well, wasn't that the most serious allegation? Them trying to flirt with a 14-year-old with the, like, connotation that something predatory happened? That was like one of this, that was definitely part of it.
Majority of the interview pretending he dropped a bombshell by debunking one of the allegations that had already been debunked a month and a half ago. Back to the CSAM defense, this is what I had to say about that in the exact same video. And then of course there is this infamous screenshot where the context is they're talking about some controversial figure and whether or not he should be banished. And while they're talking about his controversy, Phibz decides to chime in and say, do you mean the gotcha stuff or supporting CP? 'Cause either of those two things were in the past, and we do not judge people for things that they did in the past. People can grow and change.
Yeah, well, the, specifically Phibz is talking about the whole, like, I'm pretty sure it was, like, the Naruto thing, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they were talking about, where that was just, like, another kid watching, like, Naruto, like, porn or whatever the fuck.
Seeing as she privated her account, she might be a little too smart and she might actually just get off the internet. I think it's best. I do think it is what's best. While she has done some horrible things, like some evil shit, like the carving thing. I mean, that's pretty
evil. You're talking about the self-harming? I mean, like, again, I've already said that, like, the carving in the Discord, like, that's inappropriate, shouldn't be happening, but there's very clearly nothing predatory happening. Why are we saying it's evil? Evil is such a loaded term. Like, that implies that, like, Phibz is trying to be predatory to, like, these minors. It's like, I don't know, can we, like, relax a little bit with, like, the loaded language?
Inexcusable. She's not watching the CP, she's defending it, and...
That's... what? There's no CP. I don't know why. Bro, what? Where was the CP?
In all honesty, she might just be like...
Phibz was defending a 13-year-old that was falsely... or, like, another kid that was falsely accused of liking CSAM. That's what that was. Like, Phibz was not... What are you talking about?
Really not all there. So I don't think the internet is a very...
Okay. She's not all there. Wow.
Safe place for her, and at the very least it's not a safe place for her to be on in regards to other people because the carving thing. The reason I said
again it's not predatory
this is because Phibz is very clearly on the autism spectrum, and while that would not be an excuse for them defending that if they understood the severity of what they were saying, whether...
But they're not defending CSAM, so I don't know why you keep hammering in this point. They're not defending CSAM.
Not that's true is debatable. And would you look at that?
If you're gonna be covering topics on, like, allegations of other people, you need to learn to interpret information correctly. You know, you can't just say things because you're too fucking lazy to do your own due diligence on a certain thing. Like, you have to actually look into stuff, and you actually have to talk about it in a way that's accurate. You can't be talking about it in a way that's, like, loading up language just because it will get you views. It makes you look pathetic.
Jidion spends the rest of the interview pretty much reciting the same thing I said there.
The thing is, though, is she just Phibz sucks at explaining herself. She words things horribly, and she has special needs. Like that is and she's online trying to defend herself. It is a terrible recipe, and that's why she's in the situation that she's in.
I and many others denounced the spreading of these allegations, seeing as they held little to no weight and really discredited the main allegation. That being, Phibz had a server packed with children, and in that server, they would not only publicly self-harm, which obviously could encourage the
okay, yeah, I mean, like, listen, here's the thing, right? Again, that could, especially considering Phibz is 19 now, that could lead to some potential grooming, and like somebody, like I think a big concern would be that somebody from the outside, like a grown adult, could use that to wear down their boundaries to try to groom them into self-harming or groom them into something sexual or whatever. Like it's a possibility, but that didn't happen. We know that what's going on in this Discord server is not like a predatory thing.
Children that are in there, but she would also involve these children, which would already be disgusting enough, but it wasn't just that. It was a very romanticized version of it, asking these children if they would like to have their names carved into her body using a weapon.
That's... What?
Which would already be disgusting enough, but it wasn't just that. It was a very romanticized version of it, asking these children if they would like to have their names carved into her body using a weapon.
Dude, I am fucking appalled. That is just a fucking lie. That is just like a straight up, like, lie. Dude, what? That's just not at all what happened. Look at these screenshots. I want someone to cut, I think that says cut into someone else and then kiss the scars. Who wants their initials on my body? So, just to be clear, by the way, this screenshot is very conveniently cropped. I gotta say, like, you conveniently crop this in your video and don't show the full context, which, by the way, video creator, makes you look bad because that makes you seem like a disingenuous fuck that's intentionally trying to cut out context to push a narrative. That makes you look really bad. I'll show you, like, the full context just so I can show what I'm talking about here. Yeah, this screenshot right here. Fuck, this is real, I fear. I want to be cuddled and praised by... I don't know why... First of all, I don't know why you fucking censored the word cuddled. Like, why did you censor that word? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Aftercare real. I want someone to carve... Oh, carve. No, you censored carve. Okay, my bad. I want someone to carve their name... Even then, you can still show the word carve on YouTube. That's still weird. Their name into me and prove I am theirs. So, Phibz is talking about having a boyfriend. And they're emo posting. Again, inappropriate while minors are in the Discord. Inappropriate. But they're not asking minors to cut themselves. It's like, oh, hey, yo, minors, cut yourselves. I want you guys to cut yourselves for me, and I can cut your name into my art. That's not what's happening. Phibz is just emo posting and talking about being romantic with a boyfriend that does that sort of thing. That's what's happening. Again, like, the fact that you specifically cut out this, I hope you show that context later in your video, because the fact that you specifically cut this out of your fucking video makes you look really bad here.
Asking these children if they would like to have their names carved into her body using a...
That's not what's happening.
Weapon. If you're one...
With a weapon. Gotta make sure that people know that she's doing it with a weapon so we can try to fucking morally load this as much as possible.
Wondering whether or not this allegation would be disproven? No, it wouldn't be. In fact, Phibz would confess...
Well, considering you just lied about it, I would say that there's not much weight to it.
Phibz would not slip up either and accidentally say something that could be taken out of context to look like a confession, if that's what you're wondering. In fact, they would even give an in-detail explanation on their motivation behind doing it, saying that they struggle with self-harm, and they regret that as a coping mechanism, they push it onto other people, including people that were underage. Now, Jidion did...
I mean, can you show us that? Like, because you literally just lied earlier. Can you show us proof for any of that? Because that doesn't sound like what happened.
Know this. He asked her about it. During this interview, that was over an hour long, he dedicated an entire 3 questions to it. The first being just asking her whether or not it was true.
That just reminded me about something. There was screenshots about you talking about some 15-year-old and how you wanted to cut themselves into your arm, or those screens.
By the way, can I just say that, like, Earlier in this video, you tried to bring up that Jidion didn't do his due diligence on this situation and that he clearly was just not informed enough on the situation. But you show us a clip literally debunking that narrative earlier in this video where Jidion claims that he saw the screenshots of Phibz talking about it and is asking about it and is actively interviewing Phibz. So congratulations, you just fucking owned yourself by showing us this clip. Just a little bit of a side thing. I just want to bring that up.
Shots real?
Yes, and I do admit from that time period that that wasn't directed towards anyone. I want to make that clear. But with the whole type thing, I was very mentally ill. And I was...
Yeah, again, like, Phibz really sucks at explaining themselves. They have an intellectual and developmental disability. They're reading at, like, an elementary school level, and they're, like, what, 19 years old now? So, like, yeah, obviously Phibz is not going to do, like, a great job of explaining themselves.
Was, like, not seeking therapy.
But, it's very obvious that Phibz wasn't directing the self-harm to anybody, or was, like, trying to get minors to self-harm, or to try to, like, carve their names into her, like you're trying to insinuate.
At all. So I was actively, like, doing bad shit. And I do admit that doing that, like, saying those sort of things in front of minors is not okay.
The second question was him asking whether or not she was underage at the time.
Were you still a minor at this point when you said these things, or were you 18? You were 18?
Not to get down to semantics, but technically...
Why did you cut that clip? Like, what does Phibz say in that original clip? Were you a minor yourself? And, like, at what point? What? Okay, sorry. I paused the video for a moment just because I wanted to look at Jidion's original interview. It seems like the clip is still in context, but, like, I don't know why this, like, fucking person, this Poo Boy person, is that how you say their name? Or Pow Boy? I don't know. I don't know why you decided to, like, cut the clip suddenly.
When you said these things, or were you 18? You were 18?
Not to get down to semantics, but technically Phibz was 18 when she sent these messages, but she was only 4 weeks away from turning 19. So pretty much 19. Let's not kid ourselves here. This isn't...
But, still 18.
Some kind of far distant past where she was young and dumb. This was a few months ago.
Well, again, when you're 18, you are still dumb. I mean, depending on the behavior, it wouldn't necessarily excuse it, but it's still, like, you are still young. And, like, I don't expect 18-year-olds to have, like, a fully developed brain and, like, understand the way life works.
Go. Anyways, after this, Jidion would ask one more question, and I'll admit, I don't really know what he's talking about here.
I'm not even going to anon this confession. I'm just going to tickle my pickle to Francie. Who the fuck is Francie?
Researched multiple hours for this screenshot in question, but I couldn't come up with anything. So take this with a grain of salt, but given the context, I believe they're talking about an alleged screenshot claiming that Phibz confessed that they gained sexual gratification from these acts of pushing self-harm. Whether or not I'm right about the...
Where even is that? Like, what screenshot insinuates that they get sexual gratification from the self-harm? Where even is that?
Context and whether or not this screenshot is even real, I think what she did and who she did it to already makes this predatory. This being real would...
But you didn't Bro, are you fucking dumb?
Given the context, I believe they're talking about an alleged screenshot and come up with anything.
I'm not even going to I'm going to tickle my pickle to Francie. Dude, this isn't even talking about self-harm. What do you, like, do you not know how to interpret information? What the fuck is this?
So take this with a grain of salt, but given the context, I believe they're talking about an alleged screenshot claiming that Phibz confessed that they gained sexual gratification from these acts of pushing self-harm. Whether or
That's not what the screenshot says.
I'm right about the context.
That's literally not what it says.
And whether or not this screenshot is even real, I think what she did...
You didn't even do your due diligence on whether or not it was fucking real either?
And who she did it to already makes this predatory. This being real would just be the final nail in the coffin. Anyways, want to hear their reaction to being questioned on this screenshot?
Okay, the person that you were talking about doing it to, I forget their name. I remember seeing it, but...
I would do it to anyone else. What the screenshot allegedly said was, oh, I'm gonna tickle my pickle to this person.
So the tickle my pickle screenshots are fake.
Sorry, give me a second. I'm sorry, my appointment has started to come up, but I swear that I'll explain that screenshot another time.
Yeah, Phibz just
Yeah, so by the way, I just want to bring this up. I already know the point that this content creator is going to make because this content creator is such a disingenuous little fuck. Like, the point that they're going to make is that Phibz conveniently decided to leave when they were asked a tough question. But I'm going to show you a little bit of context that this content creator very obviously is not going to show you here because he's trying to frame a very certain narrative. So, this is back at Jidion's interview. This is the very beginning of Jidion's interview. I just want to let this clip play just so you guys really understand how disingenuous this content creator is being.
Yeah, I can. But, by the way, I don't have much time because I have an appointment at, like, 12:15 is 11:35.
Oh,
Yeah. So, just to be clear, this is at the very, very beginning of the video. This is like just about a minute into this video is when Phibz says this. And this content creator on purpose is not showing you this context. They're saying, oh, conveniently they're dodging the question. Yeah, and guess what? Once Phibs' appointment finishes, they come back into the call and then they explain it later. So that is really fucking awkward that you also just lied about that too. Great.
just leaves. But when they come back, Jidion is going to pick back up on this, right? Let's skip a little over an hour later when Phibz pops back in.
nice. Do you have any siblings, Phibs?
Yeah, I have one older brother and one older sister.
How much older are they than you?
Yeah, so Phibs comes back into the call to talk about the allegations. Like, okay. Yeah, like Phibs makes it very clear that they had an appointment at the very beginning of this interview. Why do you not show this context? Why do you choose not to reveal that part?
Don't care.
I'm not gonna lie, when I was first watching this stream, I thought Jidion was a genius. When he asked Phibz about the self-harm, he looked a little shocked whenever she admitted to it. Phibz had been pretty chill the entire interview since it was all going her way so far.
Well, that would indicate that Jidion's still trying to get down to the bottom of the allegations then, right? Like, he's doing, like, live reaction content, so his opinion could change at any point.
Seeing as all they were doing was debunking pre-debunked allegations. But now, she was stuttering, she was refusing to make eye contact, and she obviously leaves at the end. I thought Jidion picked up on that.
And then she came back later. Holy fuck, this guy's so dumb. That she came back into the interview way later, and she made it clear that she had an appointment in the beginning of the fucking interview, ahead of time.
This and decided that he would wait to bring this back up until maybe the end of the interview in case it made her leave again. Maybe he had more questions and didn't want to risk not being able to ask them. So I sat there and I waited for it to be mentioned again. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, but it never happened. Instead, Jidion said that Phibz deserves a comeback.
To be honest, Phibs,
Because Jidion looked at the screenshots and saw that there was nothing predatory that happened. Like, if Jidion wanted to be a liar and sensationalize information and make, like, a quick buck, he would have just, like, jumped on the Phibs as a predator bandwagon. He would have just, like, immediately jumped on that, but he doesn't. He very obviously doesn't do that.
you know, I do this for a living, you know. I catch the worst of the worst. I catch people who are going for little children. And me personally, what all I seen is I don't see that. I don't think, I genuinely, when I say this, I don't think you're a pedophile. I don't even think you're a predator, right? You're a peculiar girl who, you know.
Wrong opinion encounter. Well, opinions can't be wrong. You can have stupid opinions, but, like, opinions are opinions at the end of the day. You can't have a wrong opinion.
Was just trying to have fun, and it turned into all of this.
That's why are you confused? Like, you're putting "huh" on the screen. Why are you confused? That's exactly what was happening. Like, Phibz was, like, doing role plays, non-sexual role plays, I have to remind you. Phibz was doing non-sexual role plays on Discord. I would say Phibz needs to communicate themselves better. They need to handle boundaries a lot better than they were doing. But it's, again, it's very interesting that not a single one of these allegations has, like, some kind of, like, predatory behavior featured in any of them. Not a single one of them has that.
So, you know, it's unfortunate. It sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, you live and you learn. But, you know, I don't think you're, I do not. All right, chat, man. I could have joined on the hate band and like, oh, no, she's weird for even doing that. And
yeah, and like, listen, if Jidion jumped on the bandwagon of Phibz is a pedophile, Phibz is a predator, Phibz is this, Phibz is that, and the other thing, that would be a massive fucking dent in Jidion's credibility, especially considering what his main style of content is, which is doing predator catching content. And, like, Jidion has gotten legitimate predators locked up. He involves law enforcement. So if Jidion did that with the Phibz situation, that would be a massive dent into his credibility. The fact that he didn't do that and he actually looked at all the information in front of him leads me to believe that, like, Jidion has more credibility. And, like, he has a better say in this than you do, Mr. Lolcow Farmer.
Yada yada.
Because again, like, if you look at this Pooh Boy guy's channel or whatever, like, all of your content is just, like, sensationalizing Predator content. It's just, like, Predator content, Lolcow content. You're obsessed with people with autism. It's so weird. It's very online.
Yeah, and, you know, I could have justified it, but, like, in my heart of hearts, chat, you know, after looking at all this stuff, man, and, like, genuinely looking at it, bro, she's not a predator. She's not a, you know, she has mental issues.
A funny thing I'd like to mention is that when Phibz leaves, Jidion's chat points out how suspicious it looks. And this brings me to my next point.
Again, like, you're intentionally lying about this point once more. Again, Phibz makes it clear at the very beginning that she has an appointment. Like, it's, like, that's exactly what happened. And then she joins back later in the call, and then she talks about her allegations some more. Like, again, I don't know why we keep lying about this point.
Why I believe people downplay Phibz's actions. This isn't my main one, I'll get into that later in the video, but at least one of the reasons is because of her autism. I believe Phibz is purposefully misleading people on how disabled she really is. From what I've seen...
Wait, holy fuck.
It feels like Jidion, and this guy we'll get into in a minute.
Dude, I think this guy has like a fucking brainworm or something. I swear to God, earlier in this video... Hold on. This was literally you earlier in this video.
Yeah, like the carving thing. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable. She's not watching the CP, she's defending it, and in all honesty, she might just be, like, really not all there. So I don't think...
That's you saying that she has a mental disability, right there, when she's saying she's really not all there.
The internet is a very safe place.
So on one hand, you say that Phibz is overplaying how autistic they are, but then on another hand, when it's convenient for you, you decide that, like, Phibz is actually just fucking autistic and stupid, is what you're saying to us. So you can change it whenever it's convenient for you. That's interesting. Real fucking interesting.
Papa Gut believe that she is barely cognitive, like maybe an inch away from being non-verbal levels of autism, which just...
She's at a elementary school level of reading while she's 19 years old, so I would say yes, Phibz has some level of a learning disability to some capacity.
Isn't true. They genuinely think that Phibz can't comprehend the concept of a lie, so clearly nothing she's saying could ever be one. That's why they excuse her and call us stupid for pointing out that she fled after being asked that question.
Which, again, she made it clear that she had an appointment at the very beginning of the interview. Why haven't we still brought that up yet, by the way? I really wonder why this guy has chose not to bring up that context. Because it really hurts. It hurts your narrative that Phibz is, like, dodging the allegations. It fucking hurts.
She clearly told us she had an appointment to go to.
Why is she leaving now? No, she's not. She was already, granted to her, she did say she had to leave, chat, right?
At the very beginning of the interview. You still have not shown that clip, by the way. Intentionally, you have not shown us that clip.
She made that abundantly clear when she first hopped in that she did have to leave.
Dude, isn't that so fucking annoying? Yeah, I'm sorry. This is something that triggers me so much as a streamer, bro. It triggers me so fucking much, and it's the nature of the beast. But like, they'll get so sometimes they'll get so like fucking worked up. Like, why's she leaving? Well, she had to leave from the start, man.
Well, funny enough, the first thing that Phibz would do after Jidion deemed her innocent was post a bunch of videos of her straight up lying or bragging about the lies that she got away with. Ironically,
what lies did she get away with? You haven't shown us any times that she has intentionally lied.
Of these videos says that she's never
Yeah, where's the lie, dude? Where's the lie?
Wants to use her autism as an excuse for her actions, and that it's another thing that the trolls are making up to pile onto her. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly why you want to sensationalize content about her and you want to make her seem like this violent, predatory person, is because she is a lolcow and that she has a disability. Again, you guys are part of the network that, like, talk about Daniel Larson, Joshua Block, and all these, like, lolcows all fucking day. You guys are part of that network, and, like, you constantly fucking sensationalize and, like, try to make them the fault of their own actions. When in reality, like, you guys are definitely part of the fucking problem. It's so disingenuous to pretend otherwise. It's so disingenuous.
But do you think you really made a mistake, is the question.
sometimes it's hard for me to tell. I have autism. I also have ADHD and a lot of like learning disabilities. I can't do math above a 4th grade level.
Guess what, dipshit? I have an autistic cousin, and even he knows not to mess with minors. So that's what I'm guessing this is the 16-year-old said, and then...
Oh, he's reading like a DM message or like a Discord message or something.
This is what Phibz said.
I mean, does that person not realize that there's different spectrums and different forms of autism? People behave differently to all kinds of different autism and ADHD out there. Some people are more hyperactive. Some people have more energy. Some people talk too much or whatever. Like, it can manifest in all kinds of different ways. So, like, for Phibz, like, they have some level of, like, a learning disability.
That's good for you, but unfortunately, all autistics are different people. If you have an autistic person, you should know there are different parts of the spectrum. I was
Yeah, that's basically what I just said.
very mentally ill, so I was actively, like, doing bad shit.
Another video they would post is one where they'd brag about how wealthy they're becoming due to their TikTok success.
Shit.
Another video
Me when people hate on me, but I'm making bank that they don't own jobs.
they would post is one where they'd brag about how wealthy they're becoming due to their TikTok success. This
I don't really care about that. Who cares? They flex.
very much contrasts what she was saying during the interview they attended 4 days prior to posting this, where they tried to make it clear that they were struggling with a severe financial crisis at home.
Hey, I mean, have you been thinking about...
TikTok doesn't earn you shit. Like, you could be the most popular TikTok content creator, or you could have, like, tons of followers, and you don't... Like, the TikTok's monetary gain sucks. So I know for sure that Phibz is not making bank off of TikTok. Obviously, Phibz was just being immature and trying to, like, flex on the fucking haters. Again, like, kind of silly to do. Doesn't really help your case, but it's just... That's what it was. Like, I know for a fact that, like, they can't make bank off of TikTok. Because they don't pay well.
Like, legally coming after some of these people making these
So, like, they are telling the truth about them being poor to Jidion in the interview, specifically.
allegations?
I wouldn't know how I would go about that. Wouldn't that need a lawyer, which costs money, which I don't have that money?
She's clearly lying in this video or lying during the interview, and with Phibz having as many followers as she has, I'm more inclined to believe that yes, she's pretty wealthy. So that would place her...
Bro, this guy's so dumb. Do you not understand that you cannot make good money off of TikTok even when you're, like, super popular? Okay, this guy doesn't do TikTok content creation. I don't either, to be fair, because TikTok sucks. And again, their monetary gain is terrible. And they, like, over-censor the fuck out of everything. But, like, this guy just doesn't fucking understand that. And also, by the way, getting a lawyer is expensive as fuck. Legal funds are expensive. And not to mention, lawsuits can go on for months or even years. And Phibz clearly does not have that kind of money for a defamation lawsuit. I believe that's what the context was for this clip specifically.
They're literally lying straight to Jidion's face at
They're not lying.
multiple points during the interview.
They're not lying. Oh yeah, kind of like what you're doing in this video where you're disingenuously interpreting information.
Since
Or
we're
you're just so dumb that you don't know how to interpret it.
on this money topic here, it's very funny how Jidion encourages Phibz to start taking legal action, not only against the people that made allegations on her, but also the people that made videos on her, specifically suggesting that she sue them for defamation.
Do you know what defamation means? You know, okay, so defamation is like, let's say I was like, Phibz, you're a great person. And everybody's like, no, we all know Phibz is not a great person. And you're like, oh no, you're lying on my name.
You could sue me.
For defamation. And, you know...
Like, I think basically anyone that, like, watches this clip understands that Jidion is dumbing down his language just so Phibz can understand it in a way that they can process more easily, I would say. Because, again, they may not interpret... If you explain defamation in, like, a normal sense, Phibz may not understand that, like, fully. I'm not trying to be mean, but, like, that's the reason why Jidion was doing that. He's not, like, saying you should sue them, you should go after them. Like, I missed that part entirely. Where, hey, you need to sue them or whatever. I don't see any of that. Where is any of that information? He's just explaining that, like, it is possible to sue them. And, like, he is dumbing down the language a little bit. And you could probably criticize him for even bringing it up at all. But he's not encouraging Phibz to sue them.
you can pretty much win. You know what I mean? And you can get like a monetary thing and all of that. So that's just an example of what that is.
If Phibz wanted to, she could sue like the hell out of a lot of people. A couple big YouTubers made videos calling her a pedophile.
With Jidion's usual content being so involved with law enforcement, I thought he'd be a little more informed on US law, but he clearly has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, again, he was dumbing down his fucking language to make it so that Phibz would understand what they are talking about. I feel like anyone that watches that clip can, like, with half a fucking brain would understand that that's what Jidion was doing. Like, holy fuck, dude. It's really not anything more than that.
In case you would have to prove that someone spread or created false allegations about you, knowing that they were false prior to doing that with malicious intent to harm you, your character, or your income. Meaning that if some dumbass YouTuber comes along, falls for some fake allegations, then makes a video about it, he's not liable at all, since he was truly under the impression that they were real.
So I just want to make something clear. You have already told several lies in this video, and so this video's existence would be more grounds for defamation than anything that Jidion or Phibz or any of them have done. Like, this video right here would qualify for defamation.
People actually liable in a situation like this are the accusers, but seeing as the accusers are all 14 and 13 years old, good luck. I just find it funny that Jidion clearly cares about this person who he believes is struggling financially, so he recommends that they dump thousands of dollars on a lawyer for a case that would never go anywhere. Oh, and yeah, before I fully move away from that topic of Phibz leaving the call for said meeting, keep in mind, the meeting was with the Board of Education, and they're making her transfer schools after investigating these allegations. Because, yes, Phibz turns 20 in a couple months.
Oh, so that means that Phibz is actually credible and not lying, like you've been trying to insinuate this throughout this entire video, yeah?
And is still going to high school.
And what was your appointment about and for?
So basically, for 2 weeks, I get transferred over into the program. They still want me to, do some school.
So what was the situation? Like, so you had to leave school because of kind of like all these allegations going around?
So to explain the whole situation, the staff found out about the allegations, but instead of asking me, like asking for my side first, they decided to straight up call the cops for the screenshots. They didn't even ask me, didn't even try to talk to me.
Your school called the cops on you?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into other people's reaction to this. I feel like a lot of others are going to pick up on how much the self-harm allegation gets sideswiped. I already mentioned Papa Gut, and let it be known, this guy makes political content like 50% of the time, and I haven't even watched it. The things I say about this guy and how I disagree with his way of research is not me making a statement trying to align myself or denounce his political beliefs, okay? Might sound like an odd thing to say if you don't know him, but...
I mean, Papa Gut does make political content, but he's also a slop tuber as well. So, wow, the stocks are up for Papa Gut.
That's what a lot of people know him for, so I just don't want to confuse anyone. But I don't like Papa Gut so far. I say so far because it'd be pretty hypocritical, seeing as what I'm about to say, but I've only seen 3 of his videos. And from these
so you haven't even watched him that often?
videos I've seen,
and you think you know his politics?
I dislike the guy. But I'm not bringing him up just a single amount. The reason I mention Papa Gut at all is because of the way that he forms his opinions and comments on a topic is by looking up a controversy on YouTube and then watching the first video that pops up. He posted...
No, that's not true. He watches videos that are sent to him through his Discord, video suggestions. Sometimes he'll find stuff himself to react to, but yeah, he usually reacts to videos that are sent to him.
A video about leaping lemur. It's important to note that Papa Gut makes reaction videos, so he reacted to one made on lemur by a YouTuber called Major Chilla. I have an entire leaping lemur video on my own channel.
Oh, wow. Guys, YouTubers that are exposed about lolcows covering this fucking nothing burger of a situation known as the leaping lemur. Wow, who would have guessed that you guys would be covering this story? Wow.
If you want to watch that to get the full story, but essentially this lemur guy used to make videos very similar to me until a bunch of allegations were made of him assaulting a woman while she was under the influence. I don't want to cannibalize within my own community, I don't want to put other people down, but let's just be honest, Chilla's video on this was really bad, and it was...
Yeah, so just to be clear, that's not what happened. This guy can't fucking interpret information or retell information, like, correctly at all. Like, this video is kind of embarrassing for you, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually fucking crazy. Yeah, what actually happened was, basically, I have a video on Leaping Lemur. I have a whole video on it, where Leaping Lemur and his girlfriend were both two drunk, consenting adults. You know, she made a choice as a 19-year-old to drink alcohol, which you are, if you are doing that, you are making a choice as a legal adult to break the law. So I don't care about that. And they both had drunk sex. That's literally what happened. It was a messy situation, but there was no sexual assault like you guys are interpreting. So it just, like, again, this guy can't fucking interpret any information correct. The problem is that people like this want the worst possible interpretation of a situation to be true. You personally want it to be true, so you can go ahead and say, oh, this guy is a violent predator. Oh, this guy is a terrible person. That's what you want. You want to sensationalize just so you can make your fucking money off the situation and get, like, tons of views off of it. It's kind of pathetic. That's why you go after all these fucking lolcows who are terrible at defending themselves.
Clearly rushed to cash in on the recency of everything. He spoke about all these allegations, but over the course of his nearly hour-long video, he barely showed any proof of anything that he was talking about. Keep in mind, the proof existed, he just got lazy and didn't want to edit his videos too much to add all the screenshots.
That is just dumb idiot speak. You don't speak like that. Yeah, here's an allegation that has zero confirmation, but, you know, an adult bought an adult alcohol, so that's rape. What the f*** are you talking about? I understand that I do lazy-ass content. I just want to be absolutely clear. But while usually at least try to have information on the screen that is like talking about what's relevant. This guy talked about incest like an hour ago based on our reaction, and then he like, I guess like 20 minutes at some point, like 20 minutes later, he actually shows the proof of the, like, it doesn't show anything on a screen usually that actually like corresponds what we're talking about.
Because of this, Papa Gut titled the video in a way that framed Chilla as someone who was just trying to take out his competition by spreading baseless, nothing burger drama. This sounds,
I mean, it is baseless, nothing burger drama. That's exactly what it is.
Insane to regular viewers of my channel, because you guys likely know that not only were there recorded calls of Lemur admitting to having the victim while she was extremely intoxicated.
The victim. Dude, I hate this, bro. It's just like such sensationalized garbage language. It's like the victim. What is she a victim of? What is she a victim of? Getting, like, drunk? Why is a fucking 19-year-old choosing on her own accord to drink tons of fucking alcohol? Like, there was no sexual assault, like, at all. Like, both people had drunk sex. That's what happened.
But there's also screenshots of him threatening this woman's life afterwards. I mean, he's clearly an abuser. I wouldn't call that enough.
Fucking an abuser. Jesus Christ, dude. I can't with these fucking people.
Nothing burger. But Papa Gut didn't know any of that. The reason he didn't is because he heard Lemur was blowing up over some allegations, looked up his name, watched the first video that came up, and thought that was enough. Which is exactly what he did with Phibz. And unfortunately, like with most people, the video he found when first looking into Phibz was Jidion's interview. So seeing as this is his first impression of Phibz...
Okay, so basically the argument that this guy is making is that, guys, the video that Chilla had was not a good video because he didn't share... Like, so by your own logic, Papa Gut is actually right in the situation because he found one of the more popular videos on the Leaping Lemur situation, and it was a dog shit video. And it was a terrible video. So you realize that, like, Papa Gut's interpretation would be correct based on the information that he saw. Okay, if it was a bad video, go make a better fucking video. I don't know what to tell you. Also, what was your video on the situation? I'm curious. What did you have to say about the Leaping Lemur situation? What was the proof that you showed? Alright, this is awfully convenient. You have these screenshots that the Childa shows several times. You have, like, audio recordings. You have, like, the legal stuff. You know, you have these screenshots. Okay, yeah, so, I mean, these were the screenshots. This is the situation that Chilla showed. It was kind of a nothing burger. Let's see what your video is, Mr. Pooh Boy. In your video, you've got the screenshots. You've got, like, Call of Duty Zombies gameplay. You have the same screenshots that we've already seen from Major Chilla's video. We have, like, a Himpleton call of sorts, so that might be, like, a new thing, potentially. But aside from that, like, you basically show the same screenshot. You show the same screenshots. Like, these are, like, basically, for all intents and purposes, the video that you show here is just about the same amount of proof that we've already seen, if not more proof. What you're basically trying to say is Major Chilla's video is so dog shit, but the amount of proof and the actual proof that you showed is the same proof that Major Chilla showed in his fucking video. Like, what are you, like, better? Like, is your video supposed to be fucking better? Holy shit, it's just like, we can't stop fucking lying about, like, all the proof that's, like, out there. And, like, we can't stop lying about, like, just everything. There's so many fucking lies in this video. He tries to make it seem like he's more credible than Chilla, and he's just throwing him under the bus when it's convenient.
He has no idea that the allegations Jidion is debunking have already been debunked over a month ago. He is totally...
Yeah, well, you showed the same amount of... Like, what?
unbeknownst to the fact that people have been saying to
Oh, you're talking about Phibz.
what he did with Phibz. And unfortunately, like with most people, the video he found when first looking into Phibz was Jidion's interview. So seeing as this is his first impression of Phibz, he has no idea that the allegations Jidion is debunking have already been debunked over a month ago. He is totally unbeknownst to the fact that people have been saying to ignore these allegations because they've clearly been false and distract from the real stuff that Phibz has done. When Papa Gut is watching this, he thinks that these were all allegations that everyone assumes is true, and that Jidion's about to pop.
Well, tons of people clearly believe the Phibz stuff. Like, what are you talking about? Tons of people were still going after Phibz and snarking after Phibz for the, like, horrible, quote-unquote horrible shit that they did.
UAV, because he's on a kill streak dismantling every single one of them, because this is all he saw. The point I'm trying to make isn't that Papa Gut is a dumbass. This isn't even about Papa Gut, really. This is about the internet in general. This is how most people online do their research, and I don't even want to call it research because it's not, it's ignorance. There are so many internet dramas and controversies every day. I'm not demanding that you as a viewer see every side of every story of every drama, because sometimes you just want to watch a video while you're eating. But if you want to get into debating about said controversy and claiming who's innocent and guilty, especially when you're not even making an I believe statement, you're
I just, like, again, the problem is that your interpretation of information is so bad, and I cannot trust your interpretation of information because you have proven to be a lie. You're a liar. Like, listen, you know, you could say Papa Gut maybe is not always correct on some of his takes, and sometimes he'll get information wrong based on the information he sees sometimes. So, like, yeah. But, like, Papa Gut is not bad faith. I would take Papa Gut's interpretation of information over your information because he is not bad faith. You are bad faith. You are an intentional liar. You sensationalize information on purpose. You have intentionally cut context out of this video on purpose, and you've lied so many fucking times in this video.
Genuinely accusing everyone who disagrees with you of having a low IQ, then thinking that this is enough research is ridiculous. On to Dankyjabo, and unlike Papa Gut or Jidion, I wasn't aware of who he was prior to all this, and I definitely have a mixed impression. He's clearly an empath. He's been on Phibs' side the entire time, but he's been involved longer than Jidion. Remember earlier when I was talking about Phibs defending her friend that was accused of having CSAM? Well, he uncovered the real context behind Phibs defending this. Apparently, the person who was alleged to have CSAM was just a 13-year-old who liked a not safe for work image on Twitter of a 17-year-old anime character. That was it. Definitely not something I would consider pedophilia, and I'm glad that Dankyjabo spread the word about this. Although,
didn't you literally say earlier in this video that Phibs was such a horrible person for defending them, though? Like, you were literally saying that.
But at the end of the day, this
I don't fucking understand. Like, are we just, like, changing our narrative now?
was just another case of something that wasn't the main point of our dislike for Phibs. If you rewind earlier in the...
But it clearly was, because you guys were making videos on it and, like, calling Phibs out. So, yes, it was a point of contention for Phibs, clearly.
Video, back then, I and others were already suggesting that she may not have just understood the severity of what she was defending. If he was just debunking this, good, I agree. I'm greatly disgusted by the teenagers that have made these false allegations on Phibs. Not only does it make the other ones seem less credible, but it also is very disrespectful to real, actual victims of the things that they're claiming. But
I don't think you actually care about that. Just like full disclosure, I don't think you actually care about any, like, real victims. I don't think you care about, like, good for calling out people making false allegations on Phibs. You want Phibs to be guilty. You want Phibs to be guilty so you can make a video saying how guilty of a person Phibs is, and so you can get your Lolcow content for the day. Because you're, like, weird, obsessed freaks in the Lolcow atmosphere that try to, like, farm this content.
That's not at all what he's doing. He's acting like disproving...
You know, I'm not a huge fan of, like, calling for YouTube to ban content or anything. I'm not usually a huge fan of it. But, like, I hope YouTube does something about the weird freaks that, like, operate in, like, Lolcow atmospheres that, like, harass Lolcows and, like, will do something about those content creators. I don't know. Because I think this kind of content is, like, fucking weird as shit. It's very antisocial behavior. It's very cringe. It's very online as well, and it's just like, at what point is it, like, harassment to, like, go after people that you know can't defend themselves and then sensationalize content and, like, make basically defamatory content against them?
This is working towards proving the point that Phibs is innocent overall, and it doesn't. Phibs has admitted what they have done involving self-harm and children. All this proves is that we need to focus on the things...
Well, oh my god, this guy's so bad faith. Holy shit. No, Phibs was basically talking about how it wasn't directed to anyone. There's a literal clip on Jidion's video. You played that clip earlier in your video. You played the clip of Phibs saying that it was not directed towards anyone. You're basically, what you're saying is you're trying to make it sound like Phibs was self-harming to try to traumatize minors. That's basically what you're trying to say in this video. That's what you're saying. You played a clip earlier that debunks your narrative. You do realize that, right? Like, that makes you look really fucking stupid here.
That have been actually confirmed. And now that we've arrived here, why don't we just see both their reactions to Jidion confronting Phibz about it?
And I do admit that doing that, like, saying those sort of things in front of minors is not okay.
Were you still a minor?
No, don't let them finish talking. They were actually getting somewhere there. They were in the middle of admitting fault for like the first time in this whole interview. Finally, like you've brought up something that you've done that was up, and you've acknowledged that it was up and that you wouldn't do it again. You knew there were minors in the Discord and you were still saying shit like that. It's not on. It's really bad. Again, doesn't make you a pedophile by any means, but it makes you a very irresponsible person. Go touch some grass and become an actual well-adjusted person who knows how to talk to people and socialize. Sounds...
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it sounds to me like Dankyjabo was having a take that wasn't like Phibz is bad. Like, again, if you really think that like Dankyjabo was like in it for clout or something, wouldn't Dankyjabo just say that like Phibz is a predator and like just jump on the bandwagon like without actually looking into it? It sounds to me like Dankyjabo also did his due diligence on this as well.
So easy, but it's not. Developing those social skills, especially if you're someone who is neurodivergent or hasn't had to do so in the past, and also went through COVID, by the way.
You talking about some 15-year-old and how you want to themselves into your arm? Or those screenshots real?
Like, yeah, inappropriate. I'm not shitting myself about it, though. Again, I don't see anything predatory. Again, this is like antisocial behavior from somebody that has like an intellectual and developmental disability. There's also nothing here that would be considered predatory, just like inappropriate. Like learning lesson inappropriate, you know? Nobody was traumatized, nobody was harmed. It was just, you know, them interacting incorrectly.
Nuke the whole generation.
Are you kidding me? Touch grass? I'm not shitting myself about it? How can you hear something like this and then minimize it? And on top of that, you both...
Because it was obviously Phibz. Jesus Christ. Okay, whatever. The fact that you're, like, asking this to begin with is just, like... Okay. Like, again, it's hard to get through to people like this because they have a confirmation bias and they want Phibz to be guilty of things.
Back it up by saying Phibz is neurodivergent and had to go through the struggles of growing up with autism.
Wait, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. This was you earlier in the video. Need I remind you?
Evil shit, like the carving thing. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable. She's not watching the CP, she's defending it, and in all honesty, she might just be, like, really not all there. So I don't think the internet is a very...
Yeah, she might not just be all there. She doesn't fully understand things. But now, all of a sudden, when it's convenient, you're going to sit here and criticize Papa Gut for saying that she has an intellectual and developmental disability? Bro, what the fuck is this video? That was you earlier in this video. That was you. You ran that narrative. You're changing it because it's convenient to you. And I think part of it, really, is the fact that, like, well, you want Phibz to be guilty, and because Papa Gut and Jidion and Dankyjabo are not jumping on the Phibz as a pedophile predator bandwagon, they're immediately, you want them to be wrong, so you're going to do everything you can to try to discredit them and cast doubt on them as much as possible. When this was you earlier in the video, you ran this narrative.
Especially during quarantine. Even if you want to say that maybe there's no sexual intent, but it is abusive and predatory, I just won't call it pedophilia. I would understand where you're coming from, and I'd partially agree. But you're not even doing that. You're comparing this to cringe. Phibz and I are...
Because it is cringe. It's inappropriate. But the problem is that you think that Phibz is a predator, or you're trying to lie and paint Phibz out to be a predator. But again, you're a liar. That's the problem, is that you're at a point now where you have no credibility. Your interpretation of information is bad. And you have intentionally cut context out of your video on purpose to be disingenuous.
The exact same age. We both have autism, and we both grew up during quarantine.
Shut up. Shut up. You and Phibz are the same age, and you have autism. Whatever level of autism you have is not going to be nearly as, like, high-functioning as the level that Phibz has. Like, I don't care to hear what this is. Like, you probably went on TikTok, and you, like, saw, like, 2 or 3 checkboxes for what having autism is, and then you self-diagnosed or something. And the problem is that you're a liar. So I can't even, like, if you have autism, that sucks, and I hope you're dealing with it, but, like, I just, like, maybe I'm an asshole, but I just don't believe you. I don't know. Like, I don't believe that.
But if I were to do the things that Phibz has done, you'd be saying a lot worse than go touch grass.
No. We would be saying the same thing. You like, it would be just like inappropriate but not predatory. But if there was actual predatory behavior going on, or if there was actual sexual exploitation happening in the Discord servers, then you would say, hey, yeah, there's actual sexual exploitation going on. There's actual bad shit happening. But none of that's happening.
And rightfully so. That's what brings me to what I believe is the main theme of today's video. The reason this video has taken quite a minute to make is because I've recently been in the hospital, medical hospital of course, and I wanted to give myself a couple days to make sure I was confident in everything I was going to say, because this is so obvious to me that I genuinely thought I must have gone crazy, seeing as no one else has pointed it out. But luckily, someone left an amazing comment under my community post teasing this video. So I'm just going to put it on screen as I'm going to paraphrase what they say and then start adding my own thoughts. This definitely does lead to a bigger and honestly much simpler issue. People don't take female predators as seriously as male predators. I'm sure that's...
I mean, as a blanket statement, that's true, but that's not really an important conversation to have in this video, considering Phibz is objectively just not a predator.
Some people may have just gasped, especially Jidion. I know damn well he's watching this on stream right now. So let me quiz you. Hypothetically, let's say this man right here was accused of having a Discord server full of minors, where he would...
Oh, Nova Online. They're also another, like, Lolcow in the IDD community.
Publicly ask these minors if they would like him to use a weapon and have their names carved onto his body, and also would just encourage and normalize the concept of self-harm in general to these children. He would also admit that this is true, and these aren't just allegations or fake screenshots, but a real thing that he has done, and you aren't missing any...
I gotta be honest with you, based on everything you've lied about in this video earlier, your interpretation of information is actually leading me to believe that Nova Online is not a bad person. For all I know, they could have done some bad shit. But because you are not a credible source of information, you're interpreting Nova Online in the least charitable way. That is inclining me to believe that, like, Nova Online is a good person.
Context. If you had to think of a label for this man, what would it be? I'll give you a second. Alright, now if I were to take everyone who just answered and split them into two groups, I would have a group full of people that say that they would have likely called him a predator. Then, I would also have a group full of fucking liars, because you know damn well that's exactly what you would have called him. And if you're thinking that this comparison is unfair, seeing as this man looks much older, and we also have to take into account that Phibz is neurodivergent, well, if you don't know, the picture I used is of the notorious internet child predator, Nova Online. He is also on the autism spectrum, just like Phibz. And while he's 21 now, this picture I've been using of him was taken when he was 19. Same age that Phibz was when they did what they did on that server. Now,
again, the fact that you feel the need to paint them in the least charitable way makes me believe that Nova Online is not like a predator. They could be for all I know, but I just don't trust you. That's where I'm at right now.
What Nova has done to be considered a predator is very different, but still going back to the hypothetical situation that they've both been accused of the same thing, they now both have the same crutches, the same excuses, yet you'd likely take one less seriously than the other because of the difference in gender. The reason I have a feeling that the people who disagree with me today may slowly start to see my point later on in life is because this isn't even something that you likely do on purpose. It's a very subconscious decision based off of everything you've been taught or possibly even experienced in your life. When I was a younger child, I was made a victim twice. Once from a male, and once from a female. When what had happened with the male occurred, it was taken very seriously. Even still to this day, people remember, and how sorry they feel affects how they treat me. After what happened with the female, I certainly did not get the same response. Nobody took it seriously at all. They even knew that it happened.
Assuming that that's true, that's terrible that that happened to you, and I'm sorry. But, again, I really am going to sound like an asshole. You're a liar. You've lied throughout this video so fucking much that it's hard to believe you. Like, it's hard to believe anything that you say is truthful because you are a known liar. And also, if you really were a victim of child predation twice, I feel like you would come to the conclusion that Phibz is not a predator. You would look at the information and go, yeah, no, this information is a load of horse shit and it's sensationalized. I feel like that's the interpretation of information you would come to. But that's not what you're doing. You're trying to paint Phibz out to be a predator as much as possible. So, like, I weirdly almost don't even, like, I don't even believe this either.
Joke about how there's no way I didn't like it. at least even a little bit. Even some of my friends would still consider it as a body instead of what it actually was, something that was traumatic enough to entirely change the person that I would become. And you don't even have to take my personal story as an example. Just look around you. One of Amazon's biggest TV shows, an adaptation of the Invincible comic book series, is currently airing. Spoiler alert, but there's a part in the comics that is on track to likely be adapted into the show next season, so everyone's talking about it. The scene in question is one where the protagonist of the show, Invincible, is actually assaulted by a female character, Anissa. As crazy as this sounds out of context, I was kind of excited to see this, since female-on-male sexual assault is never really depicted in media. So I thought with this being such a massive show, it would bring more awareness to how serious the issue is. But if you look at any video or comment referencing this, they're all talking about how hot it's gonna be, or calling the assaulter mommy. I'm not even digging for little comments that are getting ratioed or have 0 likes. These are the top comments on the videos. If we go back to that Papa Gut guy, his title for the Phibz video is Phibz proves her innocence. But when it's a male lolcow, Dr. Witnesser, it's entirely different. I am not a doctor.
This seems like a weird comparison. Dr. Witnesser is like... These are like two separate situations entirely. So basically what we're doing here is we're trying to cast doubt on Papa Gut because Papa Gut lets female predators go. By the way, that's not true. A year ago, in 2025, Papa Gut was covering a female predator named Zoe Laverne, who raped a 13-year-old at the age of 19. And Papa Gut was very critical, and he called that out for... He called it what it was. It was predatory behavior. So it's... This whole narrative that Papa Gut defends female predators is just not true. In fact, Papa Gut's never defended a single predator ever, actually. Like, you guys can go cope and seethe all you want, but, like, he tells it how it is.
Witnesser fan. I have an entire video shit-talking him, but...
And also, like, Dr. Witnesser, when did Papa Gut ever call Dr. Witnesser a predator? That's another thing. Like, he says that the closest thing that I can think of that he has said is that he grooms kids on Fortnite into religion, which he tries to, like, do extensively. He tries to, like, convert kids on Fortnite into Christianity and stuff, and tries to, like, convince them that, like, God is the only way and stuff, which is, like, very inappropriate. Obviously, Dr. Witnesser is not trying to, like, sexually exploit children. I'm comfortable enough saying that, to my knowledge, but it's still very, like, again, like, Papa Gut has never defended predatory. He's never called Dr. Witnesser a predator, which so again, you're just lying once more.
The reason he's a loser is because he goes onto Fortnite and argues with kids for not being Christian. And he has defended a predator, but it's very clear that it's because he's a moron and he thinks the pred is innocent. He doesn't have any pedo allegations himself, real or fake. Yet Papa Gut names his video, Dr. Witnesser harasses children with his little burnt peanut, essentially calling him a child molester. Stark contrast.
Okay, that was obviously Papa Gut making, like, a joke with his little burnt peanut. It was obviously a joke. Like, that's not an insinuation that, like, he's a predator or whatever. I guess, like, maybe your best argument is that, like, people could misinterpret that as Dr. Witnesser being a predator, but that's obviously not how Papa Gut was trying to intend that.
As from the treatment Phibz got. This might sound like an unrelated tangent, but it isn't.
It is. It sounds like an unrelated tangent, buddy. I'm not gonna lie.
Of course, men commit a disproportionate amount of predatory crimes compared to women, but that doesn't mean that we should just scoff and shrug off any time that a woman does something predatory, which this objectively is. In fact,
he doesn't do that, though. Papa Gut has never shrugged off female predatory behavior ever.
Jidion does not only believe that Phibz is innocent, but
Bro, basically what you're telling us is you're either dumb or you're just dishonest. And I think you're being dishonest. I think that's what it is more than anything. You've intentionally cut context out earlier in this video, and, like, Papa Gut has called out Zoe Laverne, and, like, that was an example of female predatory behavior. If there is a female predator, Papa Gut will call it out.
He's actively clamoring for her to be replatformed.
Same. There was recently a TikTok person that admitted to, like, falling in love with a 5-year-old back in, like, April. I think it was, like, a month ago. Yeah. And, like, Papa Gut called that out as well for what it was. I guess technically they're a non-binary person, but they're female at birth, so fuck you. The point that I'm trying to make is that Papa Gut doesn't scoff at female predators.
The best thing for her to do would be just to stay offline indefinitely for a while. Like, I wouldn't even have a personal Instagram if I was her. Like, just work on yourself, you know?
Nah, I'm gonna say F that, because, you know, you can't let what people think about you ruin what you got going on, you know?
He talks about this during his response live stream, where he is responding to the tons of criticism that he's getting for defending Phibz. He reiterates in this video just how little he still knows about this situation by doubling down and claiming that we're all focused on the things that he debunked.
At least...
You were, though. You literally believe those allegations. You were focused on that.
What I'm talking.
Bro, did you not show us a clip earlier where you ran the narrative that, like, Phibz was defending CC? You literally showed us a clip from your first coverage of the video, and now you're just lying and you're saying that you aren't. Holy fuck, this guy is owning himself so hard. This guy's an idiot. Holy fuck, dude.
Talking about is pretty
that was a huge point of contention.
The stuff that everybody else is talking about, and the stuff that they're talking about, they haven't even seen all the messages. So
this was just a few days after I made this community post. I'm not going to read it because I'm literally just going to repeat everything I've already said in this video. So I'll give you a second to pause and read it if you want to. But like I just said, it's pretty much everything I've been saying so far. Jidion's chat was blowing up with people telling him to go look at my community post. And then someone would even super chat telling him to go read it.
let me. I'm trying to find some of the TikToks. Look at Pew Boy's posts. It explains it all. Po Boys? Who's... I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he never does. The reason that kind of pisses me off isn't because Daddy Jidion didn't recognize me. It's because someone suggests for him to go do research on someone that's trying to counter his point, and you can see in his head he's saying, fuck that, I've gone through this whole situation with little to no research. What makes you think I'm gonna start now?
Okay, little to no research. Jidion looks at all the screenshots and comes to the conclusion that there's no predatory behavior based on what he saw. Like, Jidion has objectively done more research than any of you weird Lolcow terminally online freaks have.
Later on in the same stream, he hops on call with that Dankyjabo guy from earlier. There's this really funny moment between them. They start talking about what a real predator is, and if you aren't aware, Jidion is trying to get into the Lolcow game. He's trying to score interviews with Nova Online and Cyrax, and he...
Ah, I see. Okay, I could see why that would upset you, because that would ruin the narrative that you guys have crafted about these Lolcows being the worst of the worst human beings online. But when Jidion tries to cash in on it and look at it objectively, then that would be that would mean that, like, that's gonna hurt you. So you have to do everything you can to discredit Jidion to make you seem more credible, even though you're a verifiable liar. So yeah.
Winks at the camera, referencing them right here when he says that there's real predators on TikTok that need to be dealt with.
You know, there is people, you know, I'm not gonna name names because I wanna have a conversation with a couple people, but there is people on TikTok with big followings that are genuinely predators, you know?
Absolutely.
And it just baffles me that, like, she's getting so much flack when there's genuine people on this platform that are...
It's all just ableism, in my opinion. It's just people who don't like autistic people, they don't like neurodivergent people, they don't like people who they deem to be unattractive, and they're easy target. It's like you said earlier, mate, they're just easy targets.
Oh my god, this is so fun. This is so funny to me, because this is basically Jidion and Dankyjabo basically acknowledging that, like, there is a weird atmosphere on TikTok of people that, like, try to farm Lolcows for content. And, like, again, like, because it hurts their narrative. Like, this is actually going after their wall. I could see why Pooh Boy is probably panicking, like, outside of this commentary. Like, he realizes, oh, fuck, they might actually crack down on us. I can actually see why you're trying to paint them as stupid, and it's really not working to anyone with a brain.
Dankyjabo has no idea he's talking about them, so he starts saying, totally, dude, all these people care about is putting down autistic people. These people usually
That's exactly what it is. That's what it's been.
Aren't even predators.
You guys have been trying to farm TikTok Lolcow content. And again, that is what the entire atmosphere is. That's what this whole atmosphere is. And quite frankly, I hope YouTube bans this kind of content, where you, like, take advantage of, like, Lolcows and you farm them for content and you try to sensationalize them to make them out to be predators, because it is borderline defamatory content. And it's actually, like, it's also, like, borderline harassment as well. Like, you had that fucking Bloodspeth person or whatever, after he made a video on Phibz, they were, like, harassing Phibz, like, right after.
Unbeknownst to the fact that Jidion is referencing Cyrax and Nova, two autistic predators. Then this pedo
okay, bud.
Conversation they're having.
I don't think they're predators because you said that they're predators. It's funny how that works.
Gets very weird. I'm just gonna play it.
People are devaluing what words mean.
It's true. It's true.
Like, I catch literal, genuine files. Like, oh, here, let me add. Chat. What is a file? Someone who likes minors. Okay, but really, you can generalize it as that, but that's really not what philia is. Like, it's someone who likes prepubescent children. That's what philia is. So,
and listen, there are appropriate times to have that conversation about what pedophilia actually is. And, like, listen, obviously nobody wants to see, like, a fucking 35-year-old try to go out with, like, a 16-year-old or something. Like, that's obviously disgusting. Even if that doesn't technically make them a pedophile, it's still gross. The problem is that there are a lot of times where you'll see this conversation come up. You'll see people like Megyn Kelly or Nick Fuentes that will say things like, you know, at least Trump wasn't going after, like, 8-year-olds or 9-year-olds. He was just trying to sleep with 15-year-olds. You know, like, it's technically not pedophilia by the DSM-5 definition of it or whatever. And it's like a lot of times people will bring this up as like a defense for actual fucking predatory behavior and a downplay of their actions. So that's why there are important times to have this conversation when it comes to like over-sensationalizing narratives. I agree. Especially when it's like a Call Me Carson type situation where it's a 19 and a 17-year-old going out together and people were sensationalizing that. So I understand that side of it, but again, there are a lot of people that will use it as like a defense for legitimately predatory behavior.
Like, let's say a 30-year-old dude was going for a 16-year-old girl, right? That's different than a 30-year-old dude going for like an 11, 12-year-old girl.
It's different, but I wouldn't be uncomfortable labeling a 30-year-old going for a 16-year-old. Well,
sure, I guess. Fine.
Okay. I don't really think that saying a 30-year-old with a 16-year-old is pedophilia minimizes what pedophilia is. How about we don't point fingers and say who's minimizing the seriousness of pedophilia when you literally posted this video 20 hours before this live stream? Alright, well, I think I've said all I needed to say today. Were it so easy? No, actually, I have a lot more to say because this is where we're back to present day me. I want to give a big shout out today. The MVP of this video is Bloodspeth. I was already making...
Great, another fucking TikTok lolcow farmer. Yeah, great. The guy who was... By the way, this weird freak was also, like, apparently... harassing like Phibz while they were covering the Phibz situation as well. This person is like also a weird online freak.
This video for a while, like I said, but then he came out with all these other screenshots on Phibz. Not only that, but he also, just the other night, confirmed that they were all real. So if you don't know who this Vance character is in the screenshots, this is a 14-year-old boy. Vance's name has been brought up quite a lot in this situation because they were the initial 14-year-old that Phibz was talking to. Everything that we had...
And there was no sexual conversation. Again, you're trying to make it seem like Phibz was trying to take advantage of this person. There was no sexual conversation between Vance and Phibz.
Seen so far was public chats or like group chats with Vance and Phibz in them, or Phibz just talking to an entire group of people. But here we have Phibz talking to that 14-year-old boy in private. And before you sit here and call Vance like a weirdo for saying this stuff, like, yeah, this stuff is very odd, but Vance, like I just said, is 14 years old. They don't know better. And the person that they're opening up to is clearly tricking them into doing it. And this username, Pyongle, that's Phibz. That's her like new like handle or whatever the hell. I don't really use Discord that much. But Vance says, oh, low-key harming myself in this Virgil hoodie because I needed to feel that connection. And Phibs' response to this, and I hate that I have to do this voice, but I have to like get into like character for a little bit. It just disgusts me that this is what she's responding to it with. But she says, ooh, like that kind of, like a bunch of O's. Then Vance said, I don't blame you, but I got addicted when I was, okay, I'm not gonna read this, but it's pretty... it's ridiculous. It doesn't even make any sense, but also, like I just said, the Vance kid is 14 years old, so they're gonna say some weird shit. But again, Phibs' response to this is, ooh, disgusting. Absolute. But again,
wait, I'm sorry. Dude, that's, oh my god. Dude, are you just so fucking stupid that you just don't know how to interpret information in front of them? So, here's the insinuation now. Here's the next lie that this guy is telling. They're trying to say that Phibs was, like, getting sexual pleasure from this 14-year-old. It was, like, the first ever time hardcore blank happened, and it was different when you rub your blank together. This is non-sexual conversation. This is weed. I don't know why you have to censor weed as well. They're talking about drugs. It was, like, hardcore drug. They're talking about doing drugs, and you're trying to make it seem like Phibs was, like, getting sexual pleasure off of this, like, young kid doing drugs. They're being like, ooh, no. Like, yeah, is it a little bit, like, probably inappropriate to talk about drugs with a younger kid? Sure, yes. But, like, you're trying to make it seem like there's some predatory connotation. Do you not know how to interpret information that's on the fucking screen? Are you just that fucking stupid that you are unable to interpret information? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. It's like every interaction has to be, like, some kind of predatory behavior.
Phibs' response to this is, ooh, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
You're trying to make it seem like it's predatory. It's obviously not. Like, I think what's happening here is this po boy person, or poo boy, I don't know how you say his fucking name. He's like trying to put information on the screen, and I think he's over censoring on purpose so you can't entirely make it out. And like your brain fills in the blanks that it's gonna be predatory or something sexual, and therefore Phibz is like some kind of a violent predator as a result of it.
And Phibz would talk to Bloodspeth about these screenshots. And here is where she definitely fucked up. Because if I were Phibz, I would have just said, dude, this is all fake. These are all fake screenshots. Luckily, she didn't think to do.
But you said that that a lot of these screenshots were fake. I don't see anything wrong with those that I did. Me saying ooh was basically me uncomfortable, not knowing what to say at all. But that's obviously what that was, though. Even if the screenshot is real, it's obvious that that's what Phibz was doing. Phibz was like going like, oh, okay, like whatever. It wasn't anything sexual. Like, I swear to God, this person just like has no idea how to interpret information.
Do that though, and instead she just said, when I was saying ooh, I meant like oh, that's so disgusting, and I just didn't really know how to respond to that because I was so uncomfortable. Okay, not to get nitpicky, but if you were actually saying like ugh or something like that, you would have typed it out like UGH or something like that. You wouldn't have said like ooh, but that doesn't matter. The obvious glaring flaw in this defense is that it honestly would have been a believable one if you were any other person on the entire planet. But unfortunately, you're Phibz. There are multiple recorded occasions of you trying to talk about self-harm to little kids and trying to ask them if they would like to do it with you. So no, whenever you say that you're uncomfortable by it and you didn't know what to say, I don't think I'm gonna believe that one. Also, if you haven't seen the dates right here, these are from a couple weeks ago, after Phibz had already blown up. So everything that I am showing you here today is not just something that Phibz did. This is a re-offense. Phibz only blew up a couple weeks ago.
Again, not a single... Again, I have to remind you guys, not a single one of these conversations is sexual. I have to keep reminding you guys that. This poo boy person wants you to think that Phibz is some fucking violent predator, but this person is like actually so dumb that all the information that they show on screen, they're just unable to interpret information correctly. And they want you to think that, like, Phibz is, like, some kind of a fucking predator.
Oh, and they're already re-offending. So no, I'd actually like to change my statement. I was being very nice and considerate before, but I think every single person that I talked about today that wanted to minimize the whole self-harm thing, I think you're a goddamn pig. Bloodspeth was very nice about this, and my opinion has nothing to do with his, but
he was not very nice about it. Like, that's another lie. Bloodspeth was, like, fucking harassing Phibz about these allegations and interpreting it in the least possible ways so he could farm content off of her. He was nice. My fucking ass, dude. Again, just another one of your fucking lies. Again.
He said that a lot of these people didn't know, specifically Jidion didn't know about these screenshots, but I don't think that matters. They knew about the self-harm prior, they heard about it, and they did not care enough, and they still thought that Phibz was innocent anyway. So whenever Phibz re-offends with it, why does this matter any less than the last ones? Other than the obvious fact that this is proof that Phibz fetishizes this,
No, it's not. Oh my god. Are you fucking dumb? Are you fucking dumb? They weren't even having a sexual conversation. They fetishize it? Are you fucking serious? Oh my fucking god, dude.
Already trying to tell them that. It's their goddamn fault they didn't listen. So I don't care. Fuck them. So yeah, I am...
Okay, it's their goddamn fault they didn't listen. At the beginning of the video, wait, hold on. I'm gonna go back at the beginning of the video for a second. Yeah, I'm sorry. Isn't this you at the very beginning of your video? Right here? Isn't this you?
But I feel like I'm the only one in this situation right now who isn't insane. So to ensure that there isn't a gas leak in my house, what I need, and what Phibz needs, and what the internet needs, isn't for you to pick sides based off of which one has your favorite YouTuber on it, but instead for you to listen to everything I have to say today and form your own honest opinion. Even if it isn't in my favor, because I feel like bias is affecting this entire situation greatly. Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so at the beginning, you're free to come to your own conclusions about what happened. You're free to, I let you guys come to your own conclusions and you don't be biased. But oh my god, God forbid anybody fucking goes after me when it's an opinion I don't like, even if it's not in my favor. That was you at the beginning of the video. You said that. So basically what you said at the beginning of this video was just a total fucking lie as well. Just another one. I know this may not be like one of the bigger lies in this video, but it's still a lie nonetheless. Like, he's saying that you're free to come to your own conclusions, and that it's, even if it's not in my favor, but he's getting mad at people for having a different opinion about the situation because it's not the take that he wants you to have. Like, I just need you to understand that this video is filled with so many fucking lies. And, like, intentional cuts of context and intentional bad faith interpretations of information. That's what this video is. But whatever, let's just finish this absolute abysmal dumpster fire of a video.
Seething this video, because I'm 3 for 3 now. Elam does TikTok, Mario Lord, and now Phibz, where I cover a lolcow, people say I'm either too harsh or, oh, this is a false accusation, and then it comes out that it was true. I feel like these...
But nothing was true about Phibz that you just said. Like, this entire video is a fucking disinformation piece against Phibz, so all the other lolcows as well that you just mentioned, they might be innocent. I don't know. It is more likely than not that they are innocent, based on how you have interpreted information in this video.
Situations would be a lot simpler if people would just fucking listen to me, because then we wouldn't have to wait for someone to reoffend to actually take them down. Also,
but guys, come to your own conclusions. Guys, come to your own conclusions. Holy shit, dude.
Oh, lest we not forget these other little fun fact screenshots that I can't help but throw in. Vance, the 14-year-old, says, "Are you okay?" And Phibz is like, "Ugh, I'm just bored and I feel a little left out since I feel like I'm the only one that wants to roleplay." It's like you're complaining to your partner that your relationship feels one-sided, and this adult is having this conversation with a child.
Oh my god. Holy fuck, dude. That's not what's happening.
Vance.
That's not what's happening.
Says, "I genuinely needed..."
It's a non-sexual conversation. That's not what's happening. Holy fuck, dude.
To let this out.
We've already talked about this.
And Phibz... Oh my god. Here, take a break from all the ugly hoes in this group chat for a sec. And then sends a thirst trap.
It doesn't seem like any of these are sexual, though. Yeah, none of these are sexual.
To a group chat full of children.
They're not sexual. The fact that you're assigning sexual intention to these images probably makes you more likely to be predatory than Phibz here. You're assigning... There's nothing sexual about these images.
Yikes. Also, this screenshot I took...
There's nothing sexual about it.
I just thought it was really funny. Phibz is sitting like crisscross applesauce staring at the wall in their bedroom, and they have like a bunch of text on the screen. And they posted this like a couple days ago, and one of the texts right there, it says, "Autism matters until you start to hang out with people that are older or younger than you because you relate to them more because of their age." And wasn't Phibz just saying a couple, like, I just said a couple minutes ago, I was going over the fact that Phibz said, "Oh, I've never once used my autism as an excuse for my actions." And here they are saying, "Oh, the reason I'm friends with all these little kids is because I'm autistic." So
I showed the clip already in this video, but earlier in this video, you say that Phibz is not out there, which means that they are stupid. Like, you're basically calling them fucking stupid. And you were saying, using their autism as an excuse in like the worst possible way by using that connotation with it.
Yeah, Phibz is not innocent. But I do want to say that before I end this video, a quick disclaimer, I always condemn like 90% of buddy trolls on my channel because...
No, you clearly don't. You're one of them. You clearly fucking don't.
Like, it's more harm than good. It's a lot more harm than good. With Phibz specifically, I don't think Phibz has many buddy trolls, so please don't harass the people that are in their limited comment section, because I feel like the reason all these people, and don't get me wrong, it is all of these people, none of these people are actually her friend, like none of them. Phibz, if you're watching this, every single person in these comment sections is not your friend, but they're not messing with her. I think they just feel very, very bad for her. And they're also like children. They're like 15, 16, 17 years old. So don't go harassing them. I mean, I never tell you guys to go harass anybody, but like especially not these, because these aren't your average buddy troll. They're not really messing with them. They're just like a bunch of kids that feel really bad for this person, and they don't really understand the weight of what Phibz has done. Obviously, I encourage you, if you can, to go be like, hey, Phibz is a horrible person, please get away from them, because these are children, so they're at risk now. But now, anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Holy fuck, that was a terrible video. Jesus fuck, dude. I have never seen somebody lie so much in a single fucking video about a situation. This video made me come to the conclusion that Phibz is more innocent, like, if anything. And that you guys are just a bunch of weird lolcow obsessed freaks that spend way too much time online and that probably grew up during COVID or something. It's super antisocial behavior.